Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's the Summit 2 by
Time.
G2A.com. We're in Europe, and we're in day number 14 here in our third matchup here on 7 best of ones. It's a lot of numbers coming your way, I know.
Navi's
Please
turn to
bear
pick.
with me here as we have made the way towards Team Empire taking on Navi, an exciting matchup I'm looking forward to as I bring you the English coverage. Myself, Coddle Guy, and of course, we're joining me remotely. Fantastic co-caster in his own right, Mr. Blaze. Blaze, my friend, an exciting matchup I'm looking forward to. Navi did fall short, though, to Power Rangers previously. Are they on tilt? Are they going to be able to take it back to Empire? What's the deal?
I mean, it's a tough matchup
remaining.
in general. Navi haven't been finding their prime just yet. That's a pretty easy
5
way to say it. When they
seconds
first
remaining.
transitioned into this roster and FNG was taking the drafts, they seemed to have a pretty good
Reserve
idea of what they
time.
wanted to do. But since 6.82, I really haven't seen them feel as dominant as they were. The early game tempo hasn't been as much of a factor. Maybe the tower nerfs and or tower buffs rather, yeah, the armor, the fortify, things like that, slowing down the game a little bit.
Navi's
Maybe not
turn to
fully. I'm thinking of the word, but it just doesn't work with their style as well. So I think that they definitely need to modify their strategies a little bit and find something new, like the Ancient Apparition mid from Dendy. Like I think that
Empire's
kind of has a
turn to
good feel
ban.
for the mid to late game of this meta game. So we'll see something
Navi's
different out of them
turn to
each and
ban.
every draft, and I'm looking forward to see how they match up against Empire with their newer member Yoki instead of Mag. Mag did actually make a pretty stunning performance in Star Ladder, filling in for Cloud9, but even still, Yoki is a great player in his own right, and as he builds more
10
rapport with the
seconds
team,
remaining.
I think they can go pretty far.
And we'll see as they grab their 2 pickups here, the Faceless Void
5
and Death
seconds
Prophet, really
remaining.
heroes that have been verbally abused by casters at this point. But nonetheless, if it is going to be
Reserve
indeed that
time.
offlane Faceless Void, Yoki will be the man to opt for, and he does an admirable job doing so. And we'll see if they decide to follow it up with a Skywrath Mage who surprisingly has not been acknowledged yet this draft. I don't think it's going to last the whole way through, but very surprising nonetheless that Empire, a team that still needs
Team
supports, will still have
Empire's
access to
turn to
dip
ban.
into the Skywrath bank account, if you will. On the side of Navi, they get a hold of their precious, what I would imagine being the Funnick Tidehunter here. This is a Tidehunter that I once seen clear out the Team Tinker stand-in squad top lane, just 1 versus
10
2,
seconds
and became
remaining.
quickly the top 2 net worth on a Tidehunter. Is just ridiculous.
5
So a hero he's
seconds
well versed in.
remaining.
Even on the Radiant side, many wager that's still a slight advantage on the offlane for
Reserve
Dire,
time.
especially as a Tidehunter. The Ancient Pit is still closer, I guess, based on distance, but Funnick will know how to get it done regardless of side and build towards that arcanes if necessary, build towards the Blink Dagger more importantly, and being able to be a game changer. I mean, if refreshers are kind of the new big hot commodity,
Team
Tidehunter's one of the best to
Empire's
get
turn
them.
pick.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Refresher Orb is an item that has to be looked at as far as the potential it brings in the mid game. We saw in that one game a couple back, the Tide picking up Refresher Orb just absolutely dominates, and it actually gets better and better as the game goes along because your enemies wear down their BKBs. So I think there's a lot of value in the Tide in terms of his double ultimate, and I don't think you even look at the Tide and evaluate him as an option
10
without
seconds
considering
remaining.
what he brings with the Refresher. It's not always realized in every game, but the games it does,
5
it certainly makes an
seconds remaining.
impact. So as far as what you mentioned about the offlane equilibriums and stuff like that, which
Reserve
side he's
time.
better on, I think he's still going to be better on Dire until
Navi's
Radiant
turn
teams
to
start
pick.
using the gank pass a little bit better. You smoke behind inside your own jungle, you wrap around to the west side of that bottom Dire tier 1, you can actually get an amazing gank off and catch them completely off guard. But we haven't really seen that much with the terrain changes, being able to take advantage of that. And I think that that's going to be kind of the breaking point, is when teams start taking opportunities where they can be more offensive and actually get pickoffs. Otherwise, they just
10
seem too
seconds
fortified.
remaining.
For now, though, Empire, they're going to take one away from Havost here. Not going to be able to
5
build up a
seconds
gyrocopter
remaining.
here. It's instead going to go into the hands of Silent, who is also one who loves
yeah.
to play this hero.
Reserve time.
So funny to see. We get to see 2 players who are pretty well renowned for their gyrocopter play. Not many players nowadays are kind of like, oh, he's a signature gyrocopter player, because gyrocopter just has kind of been more of a niche pick as of recent, unless one of these 2 teams is really involved. And now they're going to be going toe-to-toe, and it's no surprise we see gyrocopter going to be involved, but this time on the side of Empire and in the hands of Silent, more or less. So now not being able to benefit from your kind of Wisp buddy and good old pal. There's the Skywrath Mage that is going to be snagged. And oh, God, come on, guys. Can you even give me a second to say which
Navi's
Doctor would be
turn
the
to
next
pick.
best option for Empire? Dang, I could have looked so good. But regardless, they are still going to get a hold of that Witch Doctor, which you know, obviously him being able to add that extra bit of bonus with the Death Ward outside of even a Chronosphere. Even though Chronosphere was nerfed down a bit in its own size and setup, Witch Doctor can still get a lot of damage done from the outside. And overall, just a formidable support. His heal is out of control. We've already seen so many times where just a level 1 Voodoo Restoration could be the difference between an early First Blood or not. And top that together with one of the heroes who also benefits from a nice stun. And look at this.
Team
Navi fire back
Empire's
with the
turn to ban.
Necrophos. Ugly, green, but recently turning into quite the badass.
She's awesome, dude. This hero in this patch with the Reaper Scythe, I would say Reaper Scythe is actually one of the best abilities in the game right now, and it's just insane what you can do putting somebody down in the grave for 30 extra seconds, and obviously benefiting from the kill yourself with the Sadist. So, I think that it has a lot of potential, but they still need one more hero to keep them alive. Sometimes Navi draft Abaddon, but since they already have the Sky and the Venge, it would have to be a core Sky and a core Necrophos for them to actually consider the Abaddon, and I just don't see Havos running either of those heroes. So, I mean, I guess we have seen him run core Venge in the past, but again, that seems just all far-fetched. So, for now, I really would like something that could buff the survivability up, but if it's somebody played as a carry, like a Havos hero, then I don't know if there's many tools or heroes that would actually facilitate that. So maybe he just has to build hard tank himself, get the mechanism himself, and kind of do-yourself survivability. Either way, the longer the fights go on, the better, happier Navi are going to be for a while, because Team Empire, you mentioned it, the team fight combo here, the Chronosphere and the Death Ward is just absolutely insane. Actually, I like the fact that Team Empire have a nice hybrid mix of magical and physical damage. Like, every one of their heroes has something to bring to the table on both senses. So if they're BKB'd, if they're not, they're still going to have some good disable, some good damage, and it's going to be on Navi to build up their armor to survive through all those big cooldowns.
Very well-rounded, put-together team right now from Empire. Maybe a touch on the greed side here, where I would already imagine Witch Doctor is going to be this more selfless support. They could still go pretty greedy here with the secondary support follow-up, which, I mean,
5 seconds remaining.
I'm trying to see right on my brain here as far as a good secondary follow-up if they want to add their own. I mean, AA is still in the pool and could nerf any sort of heal from Necrophos, so that's immediately something that bites out to me. And a great setup with Chronosphere there. I think an AA would fit in pretty nicely here for Empire if they grab it.
Yeah, the two ways you can go with this is the AA, which would suppress the Necro hardcore, or you could give survivability to your team. They already have the Voodoo Restoration. Mech might come out for a hero like Death Prophet or whoever their 5th pick is. But a really good strat against Necro is just to keep everybody alive. If you never drop below, there we go. If you never drop below 80% HP, then the Reaper Scythe isn't a good spell. It doesn't do much. And I think that there's a lot of value in just keeping people alive. Voodoo Restoration plus the Shadow Wave here. These Jamaican brothers are going to go in and just keep everybody alive here. On top of that, worst case scenario, somebody gets low, you shallow grave them during the scythe. You have a second and a half to do that, and then Necrophos still doesn't get the benefits of that scythe.
I like it.
Damage.
I like it. Good call, by the way, man. That's really good, and a lot of extra durability with that armor is going to build up, and that's going to prove to be trouble for whatever well-renowned carry this could end up being here on the back-end grab for Navi. I mean, the only thing I can imagine is maybe they could themselves grab a hold of AA, Dendy mid-lane AA kind of a thing, or maybe Vengeful Spirit could be turned into a core. I mean, it's a lot of heals still on the side of Empire they could work with, and even lingering and going through a BKB could be nice.
Axe, man. Dominate that shallow grave.
Axe doesn't care about grave. Ooh, Sven,
enough.
Another man-ass hero, and that's going to be what could be a mid-lane Sven like we saw recently in Starladder.
S4 loves it, so Dendy trying to pick it up himself.
I mean, not normal for a Dendy kind of a hero who loves to play something like a TA, Puck, Quap, and more snowball-oriented. Now he's going to get behind one of these more core mid-laners that has been developing as the game, you know, kind of still evolves day to day. And all right, so we're going to see Heavy Burst, which has been a notoriously well-known, I guess, counter to Death Prophet. I mean, you're going to have the extra bit of armor, not only for yourself, for your allies with the Cry, and of course, the heavy burst damage from his God Strength, with a stun follow-up, of course. Death Prophet could crumble pretty damn quick, so I like the call there. I'm curious to see how they're going to make it work on their side, as Navi have not been known to run this kind of course event too often. So with that said, the game gets underway here, our third matchup of the day, with 4 more to go after this for the Summit 2 Europe by G2A.com. I'll lead off your introductions here on the side of Navi on your Radiant squad. We got Funnick, who's going to be playing once again the offlane Tide. He quickly puts down a little bit of extra vision with this Obs Ward. Mid lane, we're going to have Dendy, going to be playing your Sven. We have AB Rain, also known as, of course, FNG, who's going to be playing not just your captain, but your support Vengeful Spirit. Havost is going to be playing the core carry Necrophos, and Vanskor is going to be on your support Skywrath Mage.
30 seconds to
We're getting a
battle.
nice D-ward out here. Able to clean this one up for themselves and get a little bit of control taken away from the Void. Yogi's going to have a harder time surviving, even though he did commit to a lot of HP regen with 8 tangos and a salve, actually. So, as far as Empire's lineup here, they're going to be running Resolution on the mid with that Death Prophet, and of course, as I mentioned, Yogi will be taking the Faceless Void bottom. So that'll leave the tri-lane here. Solo on Dazzle, always want to fly, back on support. He's the Witch Doctor.
The
Of course, they're going to be
battle
supporting
begins.
Silence. Gyrocopter. So very interesting to see what they can accomplish here. How early they can take the tier 1 if Gyro goes for Bassi immediately before boots. I think that there's a lot of potential to this out, but of course, Tide, Funnick, the Anchor Smash should be able to hold the line for quite some time.
All right, with that, we're going to get the things underway. CS chart popped up, ready to go, and a bounty root early in the pocket of Dazzle. Any support loves to get a hold of an early bounty root, because why not? A little bit extra XP and gold doesn't hurt anyone. And in this tri-lane setup, but going against Funnick here, he should be able to get zoned back relatively good, though these two supports can be pretty squishy if caught out by the bad end of a couple of anchor smashes. So even though Fly is going to be able to do some serious work here on Funnick, and he might have to start dipping into those tangos pretty quickly, they're going to try to prevent him from getting close to even any sort of XP. But Tide's one of the best at this. He walks in, he already anchor smashes him, and is like, you can hit me all you want, I'm just going to kind of club you if you keep at it. And there's the early bit of a tiff, and that's going to force a flat cannon coming out from Silent, which Gyrocopter, with that bit of AoE, he's also going to be good at making sure Funnick doesn't get involved too much.
Yep, nice damage coming out on the bottom lane here. FNG getting the Magic Missile and some good right clicks into Yoki. Actually has to pop his Sav in first tango already. Still, again, he's packing a lot of restoration, so shouldn't set him back to the well for quite some time. Nice stack also coming out from the Skywrath Mage. Vanskor moving about, gets a stack for the Tide, and yeah, that's going to be so important. If the Funny goes for a non-Gush build, which I believe he is looking for, and then he can just go 0, 2, 3, clear out those ancient stacks, and build himself up to a really powerful point in the game. And we talked about the Refresh Orb. That's obviously not a item that you want, probably your third item that you're looking at there, but it's still something to look into. In the meantime, Dendi gets to kind of go toe-to-toe with the DP, actually winning out pretty hard in CS here, 7-2 over 4-3. He's actually using his Stormhammer to farm because although it's pretty high mana cost, the fact that he has a low mana pool makes his bottle all the more effective, and he's going to be able to pretty much use that spell whenever he wants.
Yeah, and if he gets that Stormhammer off while DP's close to the wave, he gets a little bit of harassment in addition to picking up the CS, and it kind of keeps Resolution second-guessing anytime Dendi has mana as far as how close she can actually commit to going for CS. So the mind games could be lingering there for now. Sven, not a common matchup to go against DP, and DP with that recent nerf for Crypt Swarm isn't quite what it was right off the bat, so she has to invest the early levels into it for even to do the same respectable bit of damage. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Tavos getting his own potential solo farm. He's got 12 and 4 CS right now. Void's only brought in 2, so he's still getting zoned back pretty hard, as we'll probably see more of that happen here. Yoki thinks he has an opportunity to get close enough, and this will, regardless, be able to bring the information towards Empire that these supports are not looking to venture away. They don't have smokes, so, but as I said, there's actually a smoke here on FNG. I'm curious how long they'll wait before something comes out, but meanwhile, mid lane, there's your Storm. Going to be able to be thrown out there on Resolution with no more mana to work with. A little bit extra harassment, but yeah, all still quiet on the Western front.
Interesting. Resolution is going to go for a 2-sip movement with the bottle here. He just goes and takes 2 out of 3 sips, and he drops his Null Talisman to be a little bit more efficient about it. And that means that the Courier Elgato is going to be able to make his way back to the fountain quickly enough, and they won't have to use the Speed Burst. They still think that's an important utility for kind of bailing out the Courier in a really bad spot. So in this way, he gets the sustain he needs. Still is able to throw out a few more Crypt Swarms, but he, still will be able to not occupy the Courier for too long indeed. Anyways, Resolution might be in a bad spot here as the smoke does come through. They do scout out the Courier and might try to make it go. They have 2 ranged heroes, but looks like it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking for a moment maybe that was their best chance to try to catch him with
is under
anything being dropped right here, or maybe if they both go in at the same time, they can get some hits on this Courier. That's what they're going to go for. 1, 2, they get 3, 4, they got it. One more, they got it.
Dyer's
What a
And that's
snag.
exactly what I was talking about. If you use the Speed Burst greedily to bring the Courier faster, you're going to lose your Courier to somebody sniping it. As the Speed Burst is designed for this 4-second get out of jail free card to keep it alive.
Yep.
If you use it greedily to just enhance your item delivery, then you're going to regret it in some situations.
Top lane, we have a support war breaking out here between both teams as just harassment dealt out from both sides. Almost just a little bit of footsie play. Cute play right there. Brings Solo down to about a third life as he does grab the haste and retreats himself back to the top lane. Still attention towards mid. They would love to still be able to get a hold of this Death Prophet, but Resolution knows he's got himself way down below this half of the tower, still with no support vision, and knowing they already left that bottom lane previously, they've got to be somewhere in that area. Yep, the top lane, though, they're making advancement on Funny going behind the tower, and they just run him down and shoot him. Silent, pulling out the serious rocket barrage, takes down the Tidehunter, and this is going to percolate Navi. They have to rotate these supports over to the top lane because they're going to quickly get a tier 1, but if they can go for a counter here, with Tidehunter making a comeback, that'd be something nice to grab, but I don't think it's going to be too easy.
I like the idea, but actually it looks like Venge has been scouted out. He took some damage there, and also they don't have Gush. They're not going to be scaling up Gush on Funny because they prioritize these stacks so hard. You don't go for a quad stack on your Ancients at 5 minutes if you're going to be going for a one-pointing Gush build. So we're going to see a slow come out from Skyrath, but I don't think it's enough.
Heals are there. They're able to take down the towers. Skyrath who gets the last hit, though, and denies it, and well, on the way out, FNG trying to get away from Silent here, who would love to be able to catch up with those phase boots and dish out a rocket barrage, but it's not going to be there. Instead, they pull back. Navi do walk away with a very nice deny, however, and they don't lose a secondary life. I don't think it's too bad. They deny a lot of gold towards Empire.
Really nice deny there, so they weren't able to commit off the tower, but able to hold the line and keep it up. And now Ty can have his free level 5. Like, there's no way they're going to try to commit supports to going down these gank paths and trying to kill him off and try to... Okay, my mouse is crazy there, but yeah, going and trying to prevent him from getting level 5. So he will get his 3 points in Anchor Smash, the 2 in Kraken Shell he needs to farm all those Ancients, and from there, that's Ravage, and that's going to be some real team fight for them. In the meantime, looking at Faceless Void, he's doing a little better now, but without the Ancients to rubber band on, he at least will be losing out in terms of gold, though pretty even experience, I suppose.
It's going to take a bit before he gets that level 6 once the Chronosphere does come online. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to make something happen here on the bottom and being able to take down Hvostapeg, as he's been pretty much going to town here. He's at top CS right now, 44 and 16, putting in the work here on the bottom, but no real threat coming his way just yet. Meanwhile, mid lane, Dendy's been having trouble getting a hold of the runes. No surprises, he is a Sven. He can't really move as high mobile as you'd like to see, unless he starts pulling out Warcry just to run down there. But it's been Dazzle who's been controlling the runes at the top, and bottom's been pretty much a free-for-all. But they are going to commit, by the way, on bottom. Yeah, they're going for Yoki behind the tower. Silence. Reaper's Sight, the first one of the game, is a successful hit. And Yoki, out for an additional 30 seconds, gives him a 45-second death timer.
I don't want to jinx it, but I've seen way too many backtracks on Reaper's Sight. It is the most annoying thing. Actually going to commit the ultimate here. God Strength going on a Resolution, but he's got the movement speed to avoid that. They won't be able to turn it around, but that's still kind of a wasted transition. Funnick will be getting solo experience here in the mid lane. Dendy, top of the ultimate. I guess, again, mana is not that big of a deal because of the bottle, so it's only just a 80-second cooldown. Yeah. Down the dumps, but they get the bottom tier 1, they get some nice momentum, and they get that big Reaper Scythe on the Void. You get 30 seconds extra on the death timer, so what starts out at a 20-second death is now a 50-second death, and yeah, he's not going to be finding his level 6 just yet, so very, very nice pickoff on the Void, and they want to keep this Reaper Scythe in play as much as they can.
And at this fragile early point of the game, those additional 30 seconds are so crucial. You're easily missing out on a couple of waves and all that necessary farm that you would love to be involved with, whether if you're a support and you had a quota as far as bringing together a few additional stacks for your carry, or obviously if you're the carry trying to farm up those stacks and try to get those items online, you're going to be waiting that much longer. And with a low cooldown ability, I mean, Necrophos, if they could find kills each and every time it's up and available, that could slowly begin to stack up on the side of Empire as far as falling quickly behind in XP and farm. Mid lane, just a bit of stun harassment coming up from Dendy. Still flexing his muscles here, and I'm curious, though. I mean, does he go right for the BKB rush here on your Sven, or does he go for any sort of mobility, attack speed with the Mask of Madness? Like, trying to rattle my brain as far as how
BKB does too much for him right here. Like, there's some good, decent magic nuke flying out, but there's so much physical damage that he'll still, even with the Warcry, feel pressured with or without a BKB. So, kind of just going for a drum buildup, I think, then a Blink Dagger, and then he can consider other options. Can go with the BKB Mask of Madness build, as you were talking. Could go for something like an Armlet. It's really good with God's Strength and things of that nature. A lot of people on Twitch now cry out for the Aghanim Scepter, seeing Sven trying to pump up his allies, but I don't see much value in it here with low base damage heroes on the side of Navi, and the fact that that's usually a support Sven pickup.
Yeah, I mean, there's always room for it in the late game. It's
Sure.
percentage based, so it still will add so much on teams that do have multiple cores that rely a lot on their damage output. I'd see it as definitely a probable factor, but and the Krophos is like your other additional core. I don't really know how much he would benefit from something like the Agnums on Sven, so I don't see it as any sort of potential investment. But really, who knows? You could get to a point when you have the extra gold, and why not, right? So, bottom lane though, they smoke up. They're advancing forward. They would love to be able to get a hold of Solo here, who is indeed Solo on his Dazzle. With 2 levels in Shallow Grave, he could pop it off at a reasonable time. He could be safe and allow enough time for a rotation, but they're not going to allow it. They want an optimal lockdown, creeping on forward. He gets off the preemptive Grave right now, and unfortunately, Navi quickly are going to have to pull back. They do rotate in Silent, and now Silent going to be forced to head on forward, get a hold of Havost. Meanwhile, it's going to be Yoki cleaning on out the rest of the supports. If Yoki gets a hold of Havost here, he has a chrono ready to use, but it might not even be necessary. They just run and gun him down, and they lose 2 just like that. A bad engagement and a nice positioning, I guess, from Dazzle on the far right side. He is not going to be caught out too quickly. And just as predicted, it allows enough time for rotations, and Navi crumbled.
Yeah, the Access is also going to be able to turn a lot of damage into this tower. They get the pre-fortified, so it won't go down immediately, but they will rotate and mid. So God's Strength was popped by Dendy. He's like, okay, you're pushing, so am I. And in this case, they'll be able to have their cake and eat it too. They get to hold their mid, they get to take bottom. The last hit will be going here to Gyrocopter, so Silent's going to get big off of that. And I actually have to mention that engagement was very awkward just for the start, actually. It looks like there might be more here. Magic Missile will go out onto the Gyrocopter.
He's lingering around a little too long, but it's enough for Yoki to come on in with a nice chrono. They'll follow it up with a drop down. They make the call that they cannot get this done. Silence is too low, and on the way back, it's going to be Witch Doctor. Here, take this for you, my friend. A little bit extra heal due to restoration.
But in that last fight on the bottom lane, there is actually this Observer Ward. I usually praise this as being like an awesome ward, getting the vision, seeing things coming from multiple angles. But that Plateau Ward on the eastern side actually saw the Void coming in from the northwest. And so what that meant was they didn't get the concussive on the target they wanted, the Dazzle. And what turned into a quick, easy kill on the Dazzle turned into a fight they weren't ready for. So it's actually just weird. The concussive factor you can't control, and Void coming out of the woodwork right in the nick of time. So, yeah, Navi, they're down in kills, but they're ready with this Ravage, and we'll be seeing them push them at Tier 1.
Yep, Tier 1, we'll see if Empire are looking to defend. No glyph available as it's already been used, and they will secure it. It's Phonic who grabs in the last hit. Puts him damn near close towards that Blink Dagger, and he actually has Tranquils and a energy boost.
Regeneration!
So
yeah.
Didn't go for the Arcanes.
I think he will. I think we'll go both.
They'll switch him back and hold on to the Ring of Protection in the meantime.
Well, I don't think you can disassemble Tranquil Boots anymore, but I think you can actually like carry both and still find value in it, like unlimited HP and mana.
Yeah,
it helps. The team definitely needs the Arcanes. Like the Sven's not going to be going for it. The Necrophos isn't going for it. They've got Shreds. They need another set of Arcane Boots, and I honestly think Phonic should go double boots here. Maybe not now. Blink Dagger is pretty important, but still, it's at the very least a casual energy booster to build up his own mana pool.
2 boots, 2 feats. Vos mid lane. He's got his soul booster together, so it looks like he's going for a Bloodstone on your Necrophos. That's a little bit of everything, a little bit of extra HP, a little bit extra mana to work with. Not too much as far as stats go, but, kind of out of your norm from most recent Necrophos kind of builds, but looking to make it work. We've seen anything from the more mobile Blink Dagger kind of a build into the more Agnum's Rush style, and then build the extra bit of life from there. Vos is getting a little bit of everything with this, and hopefully to benefit with a few early charges in that ultimate. As he starts heading towards the top lane, still has yet to get hold of level 2. Meanwhile, you see VS. He's going to get a stun solo here, locked in place. Will he be taken down for Grave? No, he gets the Grave off with 4 life to spare. Walks away, and that pesky Dazzle will live on. Meanwhile, Dendy getting big damage, forced to step back from Gyrocopter's output. Exorcist is going to be popped. There's your Ravage, catches very nicely, and at the same time, Yoki pulled out Chrono. So that Chrono not going to come out to anything, and now Yoki's under pressure. Pavos steps in, Reaper Scythe, though. It's not going to happen, and now they end up turning and bursting down Dazzle. Navi still holding strong for now. Empire corralled behind their own tower. And it looks like it's going to be Yoki who's going to be able to retreat away from this one, but Phonic's not letting up yet, and same with Dendy with his own blink. Jumps in, nice Stormhammer, locks on 2. Can they take down Yoki? He's able to bring weapons. Backtrack's still coming out, but he does get the right click right there, and they anchor smash home the Witch Doctor. And they make it 3-0 when it's all done. Navi still managed to pull together a very nice fight.
Yeah, but the most annoying thing in the world that just could happen did happen. That's 10%
Radiant's middle
backtrack.
tower is
Dodge
under attack.
the
Dire's
Reaper
top
side.
tower
That's
is
so
under
frustrating.
attack.
It should be the one-hit KO. It should be the finisher that sets you in the right direction. This guy's out of the fight. For 30 extra seconds, I get the heal, we build momentum. But instead, he
Dire's
just
top
backtracks and he
tower
survives
has
for
fallen.
far too long. Still, they're going to be able to get the tower. They're going to be able to bring down Solo. He's pretty much a no-man's land here.
Solo was like, maybe I can sneak it for the deny, and now he's like creating space here on the top part of the jungle as they make him work a little bit extra for it with that shallow grave, but Navi just kind of grab another sweet kill for themselves, and your biggest lead of the game now going to be in Navi's control, pushing near the 4K mark. Farming up, you see how good Dendi put that Blink Dagger to use, so he's going for more mobility at the start, and then we'll bring up a bit of extra
Radiant's
sustain.
bottom tower
We'll
is
see if
under
it's going to
attack.
be the BKB, though that can always be tricky going against that Chronosphere, and already the hefty damage output from Gyrocopter. We'll have to see what decides to make his investments while touching base with this Gyrocopter. Speaking of BKBs, he's got his completed. He heads back to base, he will get a hold of it, and now he can feel a little bit more comfortable in some of these fights, not having to worry too much about the output of Vengeful Spirit. Of course, the Ravage that could pop, which, by the way, the Ravage in that fight worked out just beautifully for them as well.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Funnick jumping
Like
in, gets a nice time Ravage at the same time as Yoki jumping with Chrono. He gets caught with that Ravage, and his Chrono is just doing nothing except giving him a nice little shelter.
Yeah, I zoomed out on that one. It was like a flower blossoming in springtime. It was just beautiful. Just spreading out, hitting everybody in that big arc, and able to just nullify the Chrono's effect, do a lot of work in the fights. And I actually am wrong about our energy booster turning into arcane boots. It looks like Funnick is going for a Bloodstone as well. Whoa. And what I essentially can call this is a respawn death timer advantage strat. With getting 2 Bloodstones on your team, you're able to, with 30 seconds extra on one respawn from Empire, and with multiple stacks of Bloodstone coming your way, you're able to reduce your death timer a ton, increase their death timer a ton, and fight in between the late game Chronospheres.
Nice swap back into Reaper's side, and boom! Avos takes down Death Prophet, but they actually want to fight still. Empire, oh, this is a bad call. They try to go in, and now it's just Silent and Yoki trying to be able to open up, but Silent gets caught as well, and he is going to be forced to go back. Not the best positioning for Chrono, not the best fight to take whatsoever, and it's just an immediate team wipe from Navi. Oh, Death Prophet just gets caught out easily, but she throws up the Yules on Havost. She can't get away from the swap of VS. It just puts her right on a plate for Havost to just slam down the Reaper Scythe, and Empire think they can still take a fight, and it's certainly not the case. Another beautiful Ravage just locks them all down, and they easily clean up.
Dire's structures are fortified.
This is getting really scary for Empire. They need like a max Shallow Grave and Blink Dagger on Solo. They need to get in and Shallow Grave every Reaper Scythe, or they're going to be losing towers left and right. Never is just such a great objective taker with the fact that he puts you in the grave so long, and they're going to be able to take the tier 2 tower in mid no problem at all. They don't lose anything. They get the full 5-man wipe, and they build up the Bloodstone charges on Havost. He now has completely instant respawn time, able to jump back into it, and yeah, he's just been so active. They take a nice little clean stack. They're just getting so much off the map. Empire have to make something big happen. They need to get a huge Chronosphere. They need to get another BKB against this Ravage, probably on the Death Prophet, and they just need a really good fight, because as it stands, Navi are losing very little. They're gaining a ton, and that's Bloodstone on Funnick, I think, is actually going to be a real thorn in their side, as they just can't bring anybody down for long. It's like Meepo syndrome. Everybody's got divided stand now. Everybody comes back just a little bit too early for you to really capitalize on your kills.
So if the fights also keep happening, is Navi would be able to add the extra pressure. Let's say they keep the fights, and I assume they will. I mean, look at all the aggressive wards already in the jungle. If they keep the fights on this side of the map, that's more time for Empire to have to cover to just get to the other side. By the time they actually get to the base, rather, those death timers are already so low, they'll be up and ready for a solid defense. So it seems like they work out very nicely. And now Roche can be easily cleaned up. They invest the exorcism for it, but this is one of the first plays for Empire to make a comeback here, and plus these stacks have been built up very nicely from their Witch Doctor. He's going to quickly farm down as well.
Yeah, so I mean, they still have lots of potential here. We're not counting Empire out by any stretch. They're in a bad spot right now, but Silent we trust. His Gyrocopter is absolutely insane in the mid to late game, and his GPM is not bad at all. He's actually right up there with Havost at 534, and about to make that so much sweeter with this Ancient stack. So in a really good position there. So Smoke, yeah, Smoke goes to the jungle, so he'll have the full time to farm this up. Even though they have this Observer Ward, kind of scouting it out. They're going to let him have it. They're just going to try to go for a pick and push up top.
Dire's top tower is
We'll see
under
if they can
attack.
catch anyone. Resolution was in the area, but not looking to make any sort of moves towards that tier 2 top lane. Hervos is just kind of acting as bait for now. On the opposite side, Yoki's farming on up. He's got his TP ready to get into the engagement, but not the best of farm from him. On his Faceless Void, he still only has power treads. Not even a Mask of Madness thrown together about 20 minutes. This is a Faceless Void who is not online when you'd like him to be. And now blinking forward, Dendi does get the quick pop-off on Solo, but Solo will be able to live, just kind of walks away from that Mystic Flare. Still being only level 1, not quite enough to burst to even take down Dazzle, who, you know, shrugs it off for now. They're not going to be able to make any sort of advancement. Navi just pulled back.
If they had actually gotten the Ancient Seal off, I'm not sure if vision or range was the issue, and he didn't want to overextend, but if they had gotten the Ancient Seal off, that actually would have been the death of Dazzle, and that might have been some more damage on the tier 3, but as it stands, he will survive. They'll just spread the map and get back control of their jungle, because Yoki's actually building up. You mentioned he's really low on net worth right now, only 235 GPM. He has a long way to go to be a real threat, but any opportunity he can take to farm like this, and he will be moving that direction, even finding a nice little cutting through a little juke spot here with the Quelling Blade. Like they can't find him here.
Yeah, he's working his way. Doesn't want to walk in any sort of common ward area. But he might cross past here with Fan Squad. He's gonna see what's happening. Oh man, if they the seal is so quick and instant. Oh, boom! Nice little cherry on top right there for Hervos as he brings in an additional Bloodstone charge. And though he was trying to be sneaky in those trees, man, Skywrath Mage just, I mean, one of the best supports. This is part of the reason you get him picked up so much. He has so much damn range to work with, and Ancient Seal is just instant cast. So the second you spot, if you have any sort of a quick trigger finger, you're going to catch someone at the right time, and they're going to have nowhere to go. Vanscore's just right on it. Faceless Void does not have the reaction time to quickly time walk out, and they take him apart.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. The tempo from Navi right now, like, off with his head, he's down for another 30 seconds. They'll take the bottom tier 2. And honestly, like, when they look for the high ground right here, oh, go again, always want to fly. Not the place you want to be, but a nice shallow grave keeps him up.
This Prophet was pushing top lane, but now has came in, pulled out the Exorcism, and they're looking to take down Dendi. This is big damage, and with that silence out, they do bring him down with the additional help of the Death Ward. This is 2 ultimates, though, brought into the fray to just take down the one Sven. So on the way out, they'll grab a few ancient camps, but with no Roche to move into, as Navi have already grabbed it, and they are not still holding on to the Aegis. I guess it was already used. I thought it wasn't used yet, man. Oh, well, regardless, they
got it.
Huh?
Silent has the Aegis.
Oh, yeah. They're probably going to look to make use of it, I would imagine, here in an upcoming fight. And, well, for Navi, still their game. They don't lose a whole lot in the top. They know when the right time to take a fight is, and for now, they'll just take advantage. They feel like their farm potential is just a whole lot higher, as Hervos now pushing towards 4K. I mean, what do you wager his next investment is? He's already got the one ultimate orb. Is it just going to go straight sheepstick?
Yeah. I mean, I could see a weird little build with, like, Scotty right clicks, and that's nice with the Vengeance aura that they already have from the VS, of course, but I would say Hex just makes too much sense. So yeah, he picks it up immediately. Important to note, he does not need to save for buyback at all. Can just spend all of his reliable gold because he has an instant respawn. He literally buys back every time he dies without spending a dime. Like, it's really nice. In fact, if we just look at the death timers right now, Necro, he's about to be at 4 seconds once he levels up, but Tide right now is only at a 12-second respawn time himself. Funnick with that fresh 8 stacks of Bloodstone. Like, they could just rally their troops so quickly, get back to the fight, and if you look at Yoki not even being level 11 yet, that means you are working around a 130-second Chronosphere cooldown, and these guys have a dozen seconds on the respawn timers. Like, it's really hard to find... in the first place, it's really hard to find a good initial fight. But following that up 30 seconds later, Navi's going to be ready for round 2, and Empire won't have anything.
So looking really strong, though. Navi taking control and taking advantage of a lower farm Faceless Void. Just feeling a nicer spread through their whole team. Not looking to engage quite yet. Just more item optimization, it looks like, as Funnick gets a hold of his Perseverance. This is the early investment towards his potential refresher. Bottom lane, Dendi jumps in, going for the creep wave, but lurking nearby is both Yoki and Always Want to Fly. Not looking to bite. Just kind of getting an extra bit of intel. And it's Navi who smoke up in their own jungle. Not under a ward. And they're going to creep on through and see if they can get a hold of anyone here. That Aegis, now expired
Regeneration.
on the side of Empire. They can take them down and take a big team fight here. They can look to break high ground.
So we'll see them just finding that, try looking for the pick, and oh, Solo!
Oh, they jump in behind. They see Solo and immediately take him down. Doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is tier 3 right here. Like, what do Empire do to try to defend us?
Can't overcommit. If they get caught out in the back end of a Reaper's sight, they will be out for a long time or forced to go right into their buyback piggy bank. And sieging forward with these illusions is Dendi. Doesn't even have a BKB yet himself, but still feeling pretty confident. The slow siege for now, and with the sustain they already have, they can hang by this lane as long as possible. But they ping back towards the woods. Maybe going to look to put down a ward in the opposing Empire jungle for now. But just a bit of a slow siege coming out from Navi. They're up and ahead, but they don't quite have the commitment to jump on through and take a fight inside the base itself.
Yeah, I think they still, to have full confidence, they want the refresher on the Tide. Right now he's got the Bloodstone, so he doesn't have to go for Shivas or Arcanes or even a Force Staff to build up the mana he needs to go for the double ultimate. Actually, nice smoke play coming out. Can they get anything out of this? The Chrono's huge!
Ooh, big Chrono on 3 with a weave follow-up, and Death Ward on the ground is big damage on Dendi, which takes him apart. Ravage is there from Funnick, but it's not going to be enough to slow their roll. They now turn their sights toward Yoki while Hivos gets cleaned up from Silent. Now they put on Funnick. Funnick can't TP out, is taken down. And a big all-or-nothing turnaround play from Empire proves to take down both Funnick and Dendi. They come out on top. They're not done yet. They're pressing towards this mid lane, but you can already see that Bloodstone on Funnick going to work. He's already back in about 2 more seconds. Though he doesn't have Ravage available, he can still put up a reasonable defense.
Still, I mean, you're getting that full, those 3 kills, and then suddenly everybody's still up. Like, that's pretty big.
Those came up so quick, I forgot he even died.
Yeah, exactly. He's I'm not sure if he was instant or a 4-second respawn. It's one of the two, but yeah, no, he's always going to be on the map.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
The
attack.
Chronosphere was a decent cooldown, that can be up for another minute, but it was just so immense. Finding that opportunity, like, how do you happen upon into your jungle, just smoking through? They wanted one person kind of farming up a neutral camp. That's what they were looking for with that smoke. And instead they happen upon 4 heroes clumped up together for the perfect Chrono. Tide does blink out, but I mean, the damage is done with the Death Ward far enough away to keep going, and the Weave synergy as well. Gyrocopter, Witch Doctor, Dazzle, they eat him for lunch, and that was, it's the beginning of a comeback if I've ever seen one. I mean, obviously, they have a tough hill to climb, but the amount of gold and experience you can get back in 6.82, even C, is pretty immense, and if they're going to be able to claw their way back into this one, that was the beginning of it.
Yeah, I would chalk it to also just good game
Radiant's
plan, good
middle
map
tower
sense. I mean,
is
they
under
see
attack.
Navi after they push away from the mid lane. They go up towards the top. They take out their sentry ward here on the low ground. They put up a ward of their own, and with this ward over here on the side, they don't see anyone coming out from the back end. They just make the assumption Navi are still in their own jungle, and they make the call and make a smoke, and it proves to be very profitable for them. It definitely creates a little bit more time for them to build up a little bit of farm, because high ground defense is going to be of the utmost importance
Dyer's
here, I'd
bottom
imagine,
tower
for the
is
side of
under
Empire.
attack.
They're about to lose their last outer tower just to the creeps here on the bottom lane. It will crumble.
Dyer's bottom tower
And now it's going
has
to be on
fallen.
Empire to make a big comeback play, but they don't only have to break through the first lives of Navi, but with these Bloodstones up, it's going to take a whole lot of efforts to take them down, because, as pointed out before, even if they defend in their own base, it's going to take a lot of time to make the map coverage to the other side. But here we go, Funnick creeping on forward with Hivos side by side, checking out the side camp, but they have nice map coverage here to be as aggressive as they want. This ward right here provides a lot of vision from the front gate of the Empire base, but they can't see the smoke. Empire going for another aggressive play here. They're not going to see. It's going to pop right near the secret shop at this rate, but they're still pulling out.
Yeah, I think Navi know something's up. I mean, they haven't seen anybody farming the creep waves, and they know that there's a risk at the very least. They'll smoke up themselves, and neither one will break. At nighttime, I don't think either one saw that smoke, so yeah, Funnick's going to be the bait, and if they fall for it, if they collide too much, it could be disastrous. Still, they're going to just go into the Roach Pit, and what a perfect time. If
It's
they
gonna
just
pop
wait
up any
5 more
second.
seconds. Oh, that's so... It could be disastrous for them if they stay in the pit and they get
Uh-oh.
destroyed by Navi. But if they don't scatter
They're
down...
going to know.
it's
Funnick
huge.
has a Blink Ravage
Oh,
ready.
gosh. Oh, no.
The Weaver puts out a nice weave, or sorry, the weave is not put out on Navi regardless, but they jump in immediately. Silent gets Grave so preemptively, he will live. He BKs B, and he's going to get out what he can while he's still alive, and it's almost enough. It does take down Hivos. Havost with only 15 seconds will be right back in it, so they lose 2 on each side. But Dendy now chopping it home, able to get down the kill, take out another. He fires back, turns his tights towards Solo, and bursts him home. Ultra kill for Dendy. The big splash, the red man, cleaves it on home and clears out the rest of Empire. And now we'll finish off what they started on Roche.
And Negro just coming right
Dyer's
back
middle
into it.
tower is
Okay,
under
kill me once,
attack.
kill me twice, whatever. I'll be right back in.
Roshan has fallen
Well-
to the Radiant.
What?
Dendy died to Roche.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah,
This
that's
cataclysmic team fights, it just looks so pro, so crisp, so incredible. The
then-
Ravage interrupting the Chronosphere
Dyer's
and all these
middle
crazy
tower
things
is
going
under
back and
attack.
forth. And then you die to the neutral creep there.
sorry. You know, it's just you can't underestimate. Roche does more damage now.
Dyer's middle tower
It was
is
just
under
yesterday, I
attack.
believe, as well. We saw Roche take down. I think it was even Phonic as a Tidehunter, just trying to get it done, and they get caught out so easily. And I guess you just can never underestimate the shockwave power of Roshan. Unfortunately, Dendy. At least it's not over to Empire's side, but top lane, Havost is chasing down Always Want to Fly, sheeps him up, right clicks it home. Can he get close enough now to finish him off with the big wham bam breather scythe? Oh, desperation! Don't, you can't. Hides on the side, steps back in once more. Here it comes. Oh, the grave is there. It saves him. Havost now put it to a corner of the trees. He does get the kill, but he drops the Aegis. He desperately needs aid from Navi, who are quickly trying to move up here, but it looks like he could fall again, and he just goes down immediately. He just puts himself out of his own misery at that point, but classic,
Oh my god.
classic. Havost.
Exactly. There's no better way to put it. He got body blocked by the death ward. I was like, why isn't he just jumping into Yoki? Looks like they have Zerberwort still in play from the plateau, the dire jungle. So they will be able to find that nice little pick off there. But without the Necro on the front line too, I don't think they followed up with anything. They just they lost the Aegis and the second life of the Necro, and they got nothing.
Ooh, Silent here. Mystic Flare. Silence. He actually has to pop BKB, and he's going to try to take it. He does, but he still falls. The clown shoes are out. They're on. They're shined up and ready to go for both of these teams. But Skywrath, he's like, I don't care. I just took you out 1v1. No big deal. Oh, my God.
Well, that's this is turning into a very CIS game of Dota 2. Really shenanigans coming out from both sides there. Attack animation projectiles killing off each other in a duel. Support versus hard carry. It gets no more interesting than that. But yeah, right now at least Havost is coming up the front lines. The Bloodstone's still helping a little bit. He ended up suiciding with his second life. Knew that he didn't really have anything going for him anymore. The Tide Refresher is out. That's the big deal here. He has enough mana for both, and they are both level 16. So it's a really, really powerful combo.
Huge.
And
Dyer's
Oh, blinking in
structures
though.
are
Chrono's going to
fortified.
catch the 2. Death Ward's down, but immediately Phonic jumps in with not 1, but 2 big Ravages that stops any sort of Death Ward nonsense. They quickly clean out Yoki. They get rid of that Death Prophet. They cut down the Witch Doctor, and they are just cleaning out the house of Empire right now. But Silent says, I got one last thing up my sleeve. I fire forward and burst down Havost, and now Dendy's on the run. Silent has put together a respectable amount of damage with this MKB and has quickly upset Navi's advancement into their base. So they have taken down the tier 3,
Radiant's bottom
and
tower
still
is
persistent
under
is going to be
attack.
Dendy here, still moving into the high ground, doing what he can while most of the
Dyer's
abilities and
middle
most of the
barracks are
Empire
under
group is
attack.
down. It's still going to be Silent nearby with a flat cannon that could just clean out the rest of the creeps.
yeah, unfortunately for Dendy, his Warcry was on cooldown from a little bit earlier in the fight when the Chrono was actually coming in. So when Silent came through, there was no bonus armor, and they're relying on that bonus armor heavily to survive through
Radiant's
all the
bottom
physical
tower
ultimates
has
and
been
the flat
denied.
cannon. So the fact that that was down when Silent came out to play, he pretty much makes up for his buyback in full gold-wise, and they hold their racks. So again, that comeback, that high ground defense, it's really legit with heroes like Faceless Void and Gyrocopter in this position. So still the Ravage was absolutely insane, but it's not the game breaker just yet.
I mean, do you think with another strong defense after like that one, and would Gyrocopter be able to pull together enough in his arsenal to bring back this game on his back alone? I mean, it's a Necrophos who could deal so much damage out there in Dendy's Sven, but a Gyrocopter is a Gyrocopter after all. I mean, I don't know if he needs to go for the Hail Mary kind of a play and pick up the big rapier, but I think he always has that kind of potential to bring the game back. I mean, if they make another good defense like that one.
Yeah, it seems like it. Like, in 6.81, to answer your question, I would absolutely think that Silent could just put this one on his back and carry it solo. But with the BKB change, that he can't buy a new one, the fact that he's stuck at 5 seconds for the rest of the game really hurts him. He's up against 2 Ravages, the Stormhammer, the Magic Missile. We've seen what Skywrath can do when he doesn't have the BKB up. Like, the 5-second BKB is really limiting Silent's late game potential, and it's just obviously something that you have to deal with. You pick up the gyro BKB early, you realize that it is going to taper, and Tide is about to hit his prime when he gets that refresher back up, and he's up against only 5 seconds of the BKB of his enemy core. I gotta say, it was really impressive that the Double Ravage came out before Resolution's BKB. That was really just what absolutely destroyed that fight, but yeah, Silent's still massively farmed, and all eyes on him.
And we'll see if he'll be able to kind of bring together big damage. It would certainly help if this Void can throw together his BKB at least. He's already putting down a reasonable setup with his Chronosphere for his Silent Companion to kind of clean out with the damage, but he's under heavy pressure himself, and being able to deter any of that damage coming in, especially from Skywrath Mage, who works with hefty range. He just sees the Chrono drop, and he'll put a Mystic Flare right on top of the head of Faceless Void and makes him second guess from getting any sort of damage in with this Mask of Madness especially. So getting a hold of that BKB would be very crucial for them, but now you got an AC picked up here from Dendi. He invests a lot into it. He will not have BKB, or buyback rather, available, and he does not benefit from any sort of Bloodstone. So as they begin to push up this top lane, Funnick's going to have not 1, but 2 Ravages at the ready. And Navi looked like they're going to try to make another go into the high ground here of the Empire base.
Yeah, there's a very significant armor advantage here for Navi, with the Warcry providing so much when it's active. It's 16 bonus armor, the +5 from the AC, and then obviously the negative for, along with the Wave of Terror. They have just this dramatic armor advantage until Weave is at maximum potential. And I think that's really the point of emphasis here, is if Navi can really cement their advantage of the fight within the first 5 to 8 seconds, very clearly, just doing all that damage and maybe getting a Reaper Scythe on somebody, then that's gonna be the game. I mean, we do see Necro kind of wish-wash between Shivas and Aghanims, but either way, no matter what he picks up, if he is able to get the big Reapers out on the target of choice, then that's the game. But at least for now, I still think that Silent has a really good shot at it, building up the Butterfly. That's going to be his ticket back into this one. Dodging the hard right clicks. They're not that, like we talked about it, there's not that much base damage flying out from Navi. There's a lot of spell damage, in fact. But if you can be nigh immortal during your 5 seconds, that's going to be the best way to bring yourself in until at least Dendi picks up an Abyssal.
Vanscourt just throws out a awkward Mystic Flare, hence the face pickup right there. It's not going to do a whole lot to any of the creeps, but maybe just trying to put it on resolution in hopes that maybe he just kind of goes AFK for a moment and takes in the full damage, but not going to be the case.
37-minute clarity for that, you know. He's got 0-second cooldown with the Ags. You might as well just chug a few pots, get a to-go pocket, keep it alight, and keep playing like that.
Yep. He'll bring up a bit of that extra bit of mana so he has everything to work with, and the more Arcane Bolts the merrier in these fights. Kavos leaves out the front charge right now. He's down to 6 charges on his Bloodstone, so the comeback factor isn't as significant as it used to be, but still offers a lot this late into the game. Now smoked out is the rest of the troops. Navi waiting in behind. It looks like mid is going to be the next striking place, because if something goes big here, they could always fall back onto a Roche if they can't quite break into the base but take down a couple of Empire members. So Kavos creeps forward. Swap's going to be there. Nice full range use. Brings resolution all the way back. Can they burst her down quickly? A secondary Ravage locks her enough so they can take her apart. Silent also goes down. Now this Navi setup is what they were looking for, and it immediately props to GG. This time, Funnick hits a home run with not 1 but 2 Ravages that Empire cannot come back from.
Navi, victory.
Tidehunter is a very good hero.
Yes, he is.
Getting the refresher orb that early on, there's just no answer for Empire. They were exhausting BKBs every fight. You saw, Havos didn't even use the Reaper Scythe there. He didn't need to. Like, that's not a core aspect of their lineup anymore. It was really good in the first 20 minutes, but since then it's like, yeah, take it or leave it. He's able to just contribute with the Hex, contribute with just being there, and it's all on Tide, really, to make the early fight happen. And that just, yeah, the Shallow Grave was not enough. We actually look at kills, and it's actually really interesting. Empire only had 3 kills on Death Prophet, 9 kills on Gyrocopter, and 0 on the other 3. They didn't have any potential to bring Navi down.
Certainly not. So Navi are able to pull out a win here after falling earlier to Power Rangers. They get 1-1 in the day so far, and this will bump them up now to a 6-2 record, still holding into a very nice top 4 position towards the playoffs. And for the side of Empire, who have been a team that's been about hit or miss, now they're going to be at 4-5, so still about in that middle ground in the tiebreaker kind of wash. And as games progress and other teams could find, good or bad success, things are going to develop quite interestingly. And we're going to get ready to go into game number 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're Empire. Actually, it's going to be, game number 4. Sorry. It's a long day of games ahead of us after this 4th game. We still have 3 to follow here for 7 best-of-ones total here for the Summit 2. Europe is going to be Empire taking on Team Tinker now. Now, Team Tinker yesterday were not Team Tinker. Fatigued, tired, using stand-ins. They were not ready to go. Today, they're looking to bounce back strong. That was a prominent first-place position of 6-1. They are now quickly down to 6-3. So we'll be back in a moment with that one. If you like what you heard, catch me over on my Twitter at CoddleGuy. My co-caster, Blaze, catch him on his Twitter at BlazeCasting. A pleasure as always. We'll be back in just a moment for our next match.